Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah. So, when I do videos sometimes, man, and tell little stories or talk about my life, y'all will be surprised, man, how many people that send me messages or it inspired them or they can relate to it in some way, shape, or form, see some similarities, or help them get over a hump. So I just want to kind of say, to even like people who haven't reached out or commented or anything, if you're struggling with your deen, one, you have to stay strong. You know what I'm saying? Because Allah Azza wa Jal informed us in the Quran that we're going to be tested with losses. Daki, let me pull it up. Okay, so in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 2, ayah number 155. But in ayah number 153, it starts off by saying, with the advice, the ease, O you who believe, O believers, O Muslims, O mu'min, seek comfort, seek assistance, seek comfort in Allah through patience and prayer. Then when you come to ayah number 155, Allah will certainly test you with some fear, right? A loss of food, hunger, starvation. But this could be on many different levels. A loss of property, loss of lives, loved ones, friends, associates that you was close with, Muslims you knew. People are going to pass away. Somebody you close to, their child, as an infant, just devastating things, right? And a loss of like crops, which could be on different levels. It may not be crops for us because we don't really farm like that, but it may be some other form of business that we had. You know what I'm saying? Other ways, other avenues that we made money or provided for ourselves. Like with the loss of food. Let's say you in a situation and you doing good and you eating steak and lobsters. Seafood boils, expensive, whatever the finest levels of food, lamb chops. And then you end up in a situation where now you got to eat noodles, Roman noodles and burritos and, Hot Pockets, ravioli in a can, stuff that may not be that pleasant, bologna sandwiches, beef, of course, although it's still food, but, I see, sometimes people get to a position in life where they look down on the type of food that they may have grew up on. Or food that they would, that they ate when it was, when they didn't have. So Allah tests you with these things. Loss in property. You may be renting or buying a nice home, and then Allah may cause you to lose it. And now you can end up in an apartment. You might end up living in your car. You may lose your vehicle. But these are things that Allah will test us with. And why am I mentioning these things is because sometimes, and even with the loss of lives, sometimes this might not necessarily be in the passing away. It could be the loss of a relationship you want. It could be a loss of brotherhood or sisterhood that you want with the Muslims. So we're going to be tested with losing things, right? I'm mentioning this because a lot of times when I see people that struggle or they fall off deen so bad, like I say, and it isn't a knock, it isn't a judge, alhamdulillah, but I've seen Muslims fall so hard that they lost their Bismillah before they ate. But what was causing this a lot of times was them not getting what they wanted from Allah Azza wa Jal. You know, they didn't get the jobs that they wanted. They didn't get the promotions. They couldn't get their relationships the way that they wanted them. You know, they couldn't get the relationships with their family and children and parents the way that they want them. And things just started to feel heavy on them. Daki. So it just be, they just feel like they not having a way. They feel like everything is just falling down around them. And the strange part is, and like speaking from my own personal experience, and this is why I tell people to stay strong. Shaitan will creep in at those times and start to cause doubt. You might start doubting that Islam is real. You might start doubting that you're on the right path. Because some people take Shahada as entitlement. Because I became Muslim, I'm supposed to have this extravagant life. Everything is supposed to be at my foot. Luxuries. Just all of this dunya. When that isn't guaranteed because you became Muslim, that don't mean people not going to give you dirty looks when you go in a grocery store. That don't mean people not going to be rude to you. You see, that don't mean your family and stuff not going to act a certain way with you because you chose Islam. It don't mean they won't turn their back on you or make snide comments and disrespect Islam because you became Muslim. No. So when some people don't start to get those things and it don't seem picture perfect, Shaitan creeps in and calls them to doubt Islam, so they might start toying with different avenues. Horoscopes, fortune cookies, Egyptology, something Asiatic, more science. Certain things, offshoots that's cloaked under Islam, a branch of, some form of Islam. They might start looking into being a Buddhist. They just start to go on a journey when they already on the right path. You see what I'm saying? But the thing that they don't do is look within first. It's always how somebody treating them. It never has nothing to do with they treated somebody a certain way and got that treatment back. This person didn't do this. These people didn't give me this. So so they act like Allah isn't. They start to have doubts, and sometimes this caused some people to leave Islam. But instead of looking internally and saying, okay, maybe I'm not practicing Islam properly. You see? Is it things that I could do to get better with Allah Azza wa Jal? Those are the people who make it, bro. Those are the people who come up out of them ashes. And they seek that assistance. They seek that comfort in Allah through what? Patience and prayer. A lot of dua. A lot of dua. And you got to be prepared, because sometimes the answer to your duas is no. Oh man, Allah didn't answer my duas. No was the answer. Okay. Deal with it. No was the answer. For whatever reason, no was the answer. Whether it was, had something to do with your lifestyle or whatever. So whether you know what's going on, maybe people around you got the evil eye, but very few people look within and tighten up. Okay, maybe I ain't been making salat the way that I should. Maybe I haven't been being humble and appreciative. You know, just like me to this day, even when I jump to take a shower, I thank Allah. And some of my times in my du'as, I ask Allah, like when I'm in prostration, sometimes, but often, to please forgive me for all the times that I've been ungrateful when I wasn't even aware of it. You see, and these things, like I say, a lot of times I see people leave Islam, you know, due to them feeling like they not getting what they want. You know, I've seen people, man, you seen me praying all 20 rakats. Like, wallahi, man, a Muslim brother came to me in front of me, full of frustration, and said, man, I'm doing all this praying and fasting for nothing. For nothing, man. What do you mean? For nothing. Ain't you chasing Jannah, man? See, you don't know how to look for that scale because they Dunya. But everything they was praying for, big house, cars, wife, you know, they started getting it. But they did a little crime. They did a whole lot of riba. I ain't finna wait for Allah. I'm finna get out here and get it. And then Shaitan opened up the door. And then once they start getting everything off, all of these high interest loans, all of this riba, commit a little crime here, commit a little crime there, go associate with the najis, rub elbows with the crooks, making sure they don't burn no bridges, because they're going to always have to figure out ways to come up with $1 to pay off all this riba. And guess what happened? You ain't got to worry about that praying and fasting no more, because it done became so difficult you can't even do it. You can't even fast no more, brother. Not because you ain't sick, not because you're not able-bodied, because you're too weak. And may Allah Azza wa Jal protect us all from it. You can't even make salat no more, brother. And listening to him, talking to numerous people. Man, you know how hard it is for me to try to stay on my deen? What do you mean stay on it? You should be saying, you know how hard it is for you to get back on it, brother. No salat, no fasting, no bismillahs. Yeah. But you got pretty girls at your arm, as long as you got material. You better not ever lose that material, brother. Pretty girls gonna be gone just like that, Jack. But it's just unfortunate, man. But he got frustrated. Allah ain't doing nothing for me. I'm doing all this fasting. This during the month of Ramadan. I'm doing all this fasting. I'm praying 20 rakats. I'm praying all my prayers in the masjid. Allah ain't giving me nothing, man. I'm doing all this for nothing, man. But what everything he was praying for, though, he ended up getting it. By any means necessary, other than to keep praying, other than to keep fasting. Islam Gone. Gone. Wearing pants, knees all out, rips all in the thighs. Like how women used to wear their pants. Pure nudity. Thighs and stuff all out, man, you know. But not to get into that. But every time I see him, man, he had this dark cloud over him. He had this dark cloud over him. And I think that's the most that I think that's why I really talk about it a lot when I see these people who fall into these things. And I think about myself when I didn't know how to practice. It was like it was just a dark cloud over me. And I know Shaitan played with my head. I'm going to give one example. And this isn't to speak about my sins or to glorify them, but for people to understand. And because Shaitan may be playing with some of you right now. I used to drink a little beer, but like with my beer drinking, throughout a whole day, I could drink maybe a 6-pack. Or I would get 2 double deuces, maybe 3. So, but I used to want to quit drinking. So I would get like a 12-pack of beer and say, okay, I'm going to try to drink this whole 12-pack of beer. Because I used to see people that could drink 24 beers, 30 beers. I'm going to drink this 12-pack of beer, but my mind was saying, I'm going to drink this whole 12 beers, all 12 of these beers, and I'm going to be so drunk because I couldn't drink like that. You know what I'm saying? I just drunk a little bit of beer every day. I couldn't drink a lot of hard liquor. So I would be like, I'm going to drink all 12 of these beers. I'm going to get so drunk and have a hangover that I never, ever, ever want to drink again. I never did it. I never could complete the 12-pack. But I attempted it maybe 5 times. But what was this doing? Keeping me drinking. And that's Shaitan playing with my head. Drink so much beer that you get so drunk that you feel so miserable the next day you never want to drink again. That was Shaitan playing with my head. You know, it was, like I said, man, it was like a dark cloud. You know, even though sometimes like I would have, like I say, I've had my days of being materialistic. You know, it was years ago. You know what I'm saying? But no matter what I had, no matter how nice stuff was, it would just make me want to have people around me so that they could see it. So I would be having cookouts and entertaining, having get-togethers, smoking, drinking, a lot of mixed gatherings, you know, girls here, you know, brothers, you know what I mean? Sometimes Muslims, gang members, you know, even to and sometimes it led to bad things, but that dark cloud, that unhappiness was there. You know, because my Islam wasn't right. My Islam wasn't right. And sometimes having these situations, you know, some of these situations, they led to violence. Trying to have get-togethers and, you know what I mean? But my Islam wasn't right. And like I said, it took those internal reflections. What am I doing? You know, when I would have these moments, where do I need to get right? And once I finally learned how to really practice Islam right, the only vice I had, I still would drink beer because I don't drink no pop or anything. I don't drink pop. I will sometimes. You know, water, some herbal tea. So sometimes when I would grill, cook something on the grill, it would make me want a beer, you know. But like I said, I wasn't no alcoholic. I wasn't no drunk. I didn't get drunk. But that was my last vice, you know. But like I said, man, when I see these people and just looking at my own life, no matter how good my job was, no matter how much friends or how cool I was, it was just always a dark cloud. You know, achieve this 3-layer home. You know what I'm saying? The upstairs, the middle floor, the downstairs. You know, 3 real nice bathrooms. I had me a whole gym, pool table, big deck, a 16-person tent, real big tent that you could stand up in. A tent with 3 rooms, 3 bedrooms and a living room in a tent in my backyard. 16 people could sleep in it. Big crazy deck, you know, real nice furniture. But, you know, inside the home, you know, married, my kids, you know, it was just like it was just a dark cloud, though. You know, it was just, you know, businesses, man, you know, it was just never comforting. You know, like I really, that true joy was never really coming to me, man, until I started getting my deen together. You know, and like I say, man, some people, they still chasing that. And they putting their Islam on a back burner to have it. And it don't even bring them any real happiness either. And then some people just want to please other people around them. So they doing this to please these people. And then those people don't do nothing but be jealous of them. And bring them down and try to talk them out of position. And they fall for it, man. And as Muslims, you know. So that's why I just want to say, man, you just gotta stay strong, man, and keep in mind these are things that Allah gonna test us with. You know, a loss of food, or you might not be eating as good as you used to. You know, a loss of property, certain things, you know, you might not have certain things that you used to have. You know, some people, you know, especially this American way, you know, some people, you know, you have a famous person, might even be Muslim, marry some girl and he worth $50 million, and now he got to give her $25 million of it, you know, and she ain't did nothing, ain't had no kids with him, you know, you just never know what that loss is going to look like. So, you know, but you gotta have that faith in Allah. And like I say, a lot of times when I see people fall off deen, it's not because they don't think Islam is not real anymore. They feel like they aren't getting what they asking Allah for. You know, they not getting this husband, or they get the husband, and then they lose the husband, and then they so devastated they leave Islam. Or they'll stop covering up. You know what I mean? It's just, but like I said, man, everybody I see, they just have a dark cloud over them. No matter how much material they have, you know, and they just be lost, man. You know, and they know that they lost. They know that they lost because they know what Islam is. So before. But this is how your average kafir live. Deep in debt, bad marriages, bad relationships, a lot of the wife cheating, the husband cheating. But this is just normal society. A lot of drinking, a lot of smoking, a lot of vaping. You know, a lot of coping devices so that they can cope with reality. but it's normal. But when they accept Islam and certain foes of Islam, and then they start to realize that their environment isn't right, some people don't accept that their environment is wrong, because Islam isn't changing them. They're trying to change Islam. You see? So they chasing that dark cloud, man. They chasing it. And alhamdulillah, man, I mean, like I said, man, I know what it is to have that dark cloud over you. And like now, when you get to a certain level, not that I'm on a certain level, but when you get to talk to different students, or you be around certain Muslims that's striving, and you can have different conversations, now that sadness come in, you know, because you just see where the Muslims is kind of headed. Like right now, this, you know, Ramadan just ended, and I've been watching these Muslims go back and forth all Ramadan about this black nationalism, and the black Salafis is the problem. You know, they the new nation of Islam, and they for your gang bangers and street thugs. You know, and then they going back and forth, and you know, now I'm seeing 3-4 more students jump up talking about the fifth madhab, Black Islam or something like that. They really been going at it, man. And one person, you know, the person who kind of kicked it off, he just trying to build his views up, man. Just totally irresponsible. You chasing a YouTube check, man. You know, with these mixed views, and you know, now you got all these people talking about it, and then they'll post a screenshot you. So now you got this traffic. You got internet traffic. People coming to listen to how foolish you are, and then try to make a video talking about you. But it's good for you. The negativity is bringing you up. But Ramadan, y'all been going through this unnecessary stuff all through Ramadan. Ramadan ended. Now it's turning up. More people involved. You know, but like I said, I spoke on a little bit, but I don't really necessarily try to give him no shine. You know, I speak on it because certain people ask me a question. You know, getting confused by it and stuff like that. But man, Ramadan just ended, man. It just some more stuff for us to fight over, man, and it means nothing. And this is the type of stuff, man, it caused people to leave Islam, man. It's a Crip girl, and I know she's a Crip girl because she always talk about Cripping. I think her name was like Mari something. I used to see her little stuff on Instagram, but she was so happy to find Islam, and she was doing a lot of little reels about how she used to be, you know, and how Islam done changed her. But every day it'd be one of them Salafis in her video. Oh, you got on makeup. Oh, you wearing pink. Oh, quit it glorifying your sins, Allah said. You know what I'm saying? But she's fairly a new Muslim, and she's coming from real true life gang culture in California. And we know how the gang girls is. She was a send-off, you know, talking about black eyes she done got and all this other stuff. But you know, she was covered up. She was so happy to find Islam. Man, them Salafis was in there, man, and you know, her not really understanding it. And then she got to the point she was like, man, I hate these Salafi, man. Who is these Salafi people? Like, man, I hate them. You know what I'm saying? And then slowly but surely, due to all this arguing, this negativity, not saying she didn't need to be corrected, but she was trying. Next thing you know, she uncovered again. She going back to them ways, talking about her struggling. You know, ain't no telling. You know, like I said, I don't really keep up with her. I just seen a couple of little reels. You know, I think she might even posted something where she was going back to the club. but she completely uncovered, possibly back indulging, possibly cripping and stuff again, But she was so excited and so happy, man. But then, them Salafis, man. Them Salafis not having no hikmah, not dealing with her with kindness, and instead of trying to correct her, it was like more of a bashing, a more condemning. You know how they do. Somebody might say something accidentally, a slip of the tongue, and here they come automatically. May Allah break your back. That type of stuff. I'm making dua that Allah break your back for such a statement. The whole time he might have been quoting Imam Ahmed, and they just didn't know it. May Allah break your back. No salam alaikum, no nothing. Just instantly, may Allah break your back. You know how they do, man. They was doing that sister like that, man. And like I say, people have their own vices, man. But like I say, man, sometimes that dude turn people away. I left gang banging to come gang bang as a Muslim. What side you on? You Salafi, you Ashari? Like Mufti said, what set you claiming? I come to Islam to gang bang? And she's struggling, man. She's struggling. And I can see that, like the look in her face, that brightness is starting to disappear. That dark cloud is coming over that sister. From a couple of little videos I seen. And, it just had to pop up my little timeline. I don't really watch it, nothing. I ain't keeping up with it, but. So, just to, to wrap it up, y'all stay strong, stay focused, sit down with yourself. What am I doing? Ask Allah, what do I need to do to get back in your good graces? Stay on your du'as. Allah, help me, guide me, send somebody my way. I don't want to be like this no more. I don't want to be this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of chasing my own unhappiness. And I'm just spending all my money looking for happiness. Got my money. I'm sitting around. Okay, I'll just redecorate my house. Now I'm happy for a week. Go redecorate my car. Go buy different stuff to hook my car up and wash it and wax it, and I'm happy for another week. Go buy me some new clothes, buy me some new shoes, just for them to sit around. I'm temporary happiness, and I'm wasting my money. So, man, just like I say, man, stay strong. Try to stay focused. Try to get your prayers in. Try to read your Quran. Alhamdulillah, I'm still on my Quran reading. Like I said, I'm going to try to complete it every month. At least, hopefully, inshallah, I get to the point where I can read it at least twice a month. I'm going to strive for it, man. Allah bless me with tawfiq in that endeavor. But I'm going to be patient with it, because sometimes when you rush into things, it breaks you. But we got to do it, man. Stay focused, do a lot of dua, and just tighten up. Tighten up, man. Read your Quran, no matter what version you have, man. Just keep reading it, and keep reading it. Read it before you go to bed. Read it when you wake up for Fajr. Take some time for yourself. Take a step back. Take a step back from your environment and analyze it with an open and clean heart, even yourself, and then correct you first. Because this is one thing I learned about me. As long as I correct me, I ain't got to correct nobody else. As long as I respect me, I don't need for other people to respect me. And if they disrespect me, I let it roll off my back and keep it moving. Don't put your hands on me, though. Don't put your hands on me. But that's a different realm of things. Everything don't have to turn into that, man. And like I always speak about disciplines. You know, when I say discipline, different fighting discipline. Boxing, wrestling, MMA, ninjutsu, you know, any form of discipline. One thing that I carry through life, man, from those disciplines, let's say you have two equal fighters, same skills, same abilities, and they get to fighting. Who's most likely to come out on top? The one who was able to make adjustments. The one who was able to make adjustments during those fights, and the one who had the stamina and the willpower to keep going, and enough stamina to have enough strength to get through those tough moments where the other person couldn't adjust and they didn't have the stamina. You're going to have to learn how to adjust, man. You're going to have to learn how to adjust to a more Islamic lifestyle instead of adjusting your Islam for your lifestyle. And then you got to have that stamina. And to build up your Islamic stamina is going to come through practicing it. You're going to have to start getting those 5s in a day. You're going to have to get some of those sunnah fasting in a day. You're going to have to start getting those tahajjud prayers and qiyam al-layl. I remember years ago, man, what turned me into a tahajjud fanatic. It was this girl doing a YouTube video. And she was saying how her imam or somebody had told her, because she was talking about something that she really wanted, like a marriage, and she wasn't getting it. And they told her, you don't really want that. And she was like, well, how come I don't? They said, because you're not making tahajjud for it. If you really wanted it, you would make tahajjud for it. You really want something? You willing to make tahajjud, give up sleep every night for 1 year to ask Allah for it? But then you look at the companions. They made tahajjud just because. They made qiyam al-layl just because they wanted Jannah. They fasted just because, bruh. Not because they was after things. But we just have to know how to utilize that thing. And you got to start practicing it. You got to build up that Islamic stamina. Like how I said, just starting off fasting in December. I do notice in the video I said because it was the shortest month, but I meant the days are shortest in December. Like you end up breaking your fast around 4 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock. Starting off around 5, but as the month get longer, it might be like 4:30, and you breaking your fast. So it has the shortest days. But just going through that December, those Decembers, by the time I get to the real Ramadan, fasting was like, that stamina was up. And then I had enough in me to know how to make adjustments, not making those rookie mistakes. Whether what I needed to drink or eat in the morning, and then what I needed to do during the night, so I wasn't overhydrating in order to only dehydrate myself the next day. You know, I knew how to make those adjustments, and my stamina was up. You got to learn how to adjust your adjust your lifestyle to fit your Islam, not adjusting your Islam to fit your lifestyle. These is the thing that make people fall off. And then some people they completely leave Islam, but they too scared to not be Muslim. Because they know Allah is the truth. They don't necessarily, they might not have the proper views about Prophet Muhammad, but they know Allah is who it is. And they know Islam is his religion. So the only thing is, the only thing that's keeping them from saying that they not Muslim anymore is because they know that's the truth, but they really done left Islam. You know what I'm saying? I know some brothers and some sisters like that. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when I go to some of the stores, the chicken spots and stuff that the Muslims own, that don't really practice, they hanging on by that thread. They too scared to say I'm not Muslim anymore. They had that much fear of Allah. But if they didn't have that fear, they wouldn't even say they was Muslim. That's a sad thing, man. That is a sad thing. May Allah protect us all from getting that way, man. And if you feel it, just keep in mind, man, it's a test, man. Adjust your life to fit your Islam, and quit adjusting your Islam to fit your life when you know your life ain't right, because you keep chasing material, man. You keep chasing pats on the back from your peers, and then that dark cloud just be over you, man. I be seeing Muslims, man, get to the point they just make up something. Allah said, when the days is sunny, you tread through the rain, and once you get through the rain, there'll be rainbows with pot of gold. And I'm digging my hands in this pot of gold. They need to be careful, man, because these things Allah didn't say. But they so used to that kafirdom, they start to say little stuff. Allah said this, God said. When you walk on your tippy toes through the sunny storms for rainbows, you get gold. We need to be careful, man. We don't know how low we sinking, man. And then they can't figure out why I keep having these dark clouds over me. Man. Stay strong. Adjust your dedication and be able to adjust. And build up that Islamic stamina, man. Because like I say, man, in life, even Muslims like just adjusting to life. Some people can't adjust to a new job. Some people can't even adjust to a new home, a new car, a new relationship, new friendships. They can't adjust. So they look for people to adjust around them. But then they take a lot of manipulation and conniving. Because they don't have the stamina, man, and they don't know how to adjust. And trust me, in those disciplines, when you have superior elite fighters, sometimes that be the difference. The one who able to make the adjustments, and they got the stamina. They able to push through those tough moments to get the victory that's on the other side. So anyway, man, just be careful, man, because like I said, man, I have yet to see one where that dark cloud isn't over them. Okay? Like in a major way. And they just be lost in alcohol and marijuana and, men, like I say, male and females, man. They just be lost, man. Like that time, man, the surah Wal Asr, man, about how mankind, the ones who truly lost. So stay strong, stay dedicated, and push yourself. Read. Study, man. Test yourself. Put it into practice. May Allah Azza wa Jal be with us all, man. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.